Alright, today we're off to Berry for one of the famous hedgehog bacon and eggs. Roads are a bit wet, must have rained fairly recently last night. A few puddles here and there. On today's ride, I'm not going to mention earplugs or shrimp, not even once. I think I covered earplugs quite thoroughly in the last video I made, and to tell you the truth, I don't have them in today. It's not that long a ride, not much wind, so I thought I'd do without and listen to the sweet sound of this 111 cubic inch Thunderstroke engine. Today might be a good day to go to Berry via Jamberoo. Beautiful blue sky, lots of twists and turns, gives that journey a little bit of extra oomph. And maybe through Gerringong as well. Look at that, it's hard to beat a beautiful blue sky and beautiful green pastures. And a nice grey asphalt strip to ride along through them. And of course, a majestic, fantastic motorcycle to ride along that strip. So now we're heading out of Albion Park and towards Jamberoo, which is famous for dairy farms and possibly more famous for the Jamberoo Recreation Park, which has some of the best water slides you can go on and other rides. But yeah, it's a very popular water park in summer and they get huge crowds there. That's a great ride. It's right up there, I think, with the Illawarra's foremost tourist attractions, if not the foremost. This is very pretty country out along here at the moment, but unfortunately civilization encroaches. This all used to be beautiful pasture land along here as well, but now it's just a sea of roofs. I don't know where they're going to start putting dairy cows and how we're going to produce our own cheese and milk pretty soon, because you look at that and it's just a sea of houses now, which used to be grazing land for dairy cows and other beef cows and all sorts of things. Now it's more of a breeding ground for humans, who will in turn, of course, when they grow up, will in turn require more space, and I guess where we're heading into now will become covered in houses to accommodate that, and of course their offspring will be requiring space as well, and so on it goes. And I think eventually one day Australia will be just one big roof, or the livable areas of Australia, which are pretty few and far between, will just be covered in roofs. And we'll be importing all of our dairy and agricultural needs from China and all those sorts of places, Southeast Asia, because we won't have the land left to grow our own. But of course we'll have such a huge population, we'll be needing much more food than we do now. So I don't know what we're going to sell in return. It'll just be buy, I guess. Because all of the things that Australia trade with or send overseas are in disfavour, such as coal and iron and so on. I suppose iron's still popular, but you do need coal to smelt it down. And of course the environment is suffering from all of the coal burning that's gone on for years. And now it's become very unpopular to burn coal for electricity or make steel, so I think they're going to power the steel furnaces with windmills. I think that's the plan. Or solar. Yeah, that should go real well. So yeah, all of Australia, most of Australia's export products are a dirty word now. So yeah, we'll be importing all that food, and I don't know what we're going to sell them or trade them in return. Alright, so we're coming up now to the Jamberoo Recreation Park. I think that's what it's called, or Jamberoo Adventureland, or what's it called now? Jamberoo. It's over there anyway, behind those trees. I don't like you looking at them. Action Park, Jamberoo Action Park, and it looks like it's open today, where you have all the fun, or too much fun. Anyway, it's a great spot. So we're getting a little closer to Jamberoo Township itself, or village. Got a famous pub in there as well. They've got a cricket team, first grade cricket team. They've got rugby league team and grounds and so on for both those sports. But it's generally a very quiet, sleepy little place, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only trouble with coming along here, if you're a little early in the morning, is there's a lot of crossings of the road where the cows are driven over to get milked, and of course they leave a nice trail of cow manure, which is very slippery and oily, not too good for a motorbike. And of course if it's still wet, it gets thrown up under your mudguard and all over your nice chrome, and stains all that and stinks as well. But it's also a hazard because it's so slippery. It's like oil, like spilling oil on the road. But I think by now, I'm hoping anyway, that the sun's had a chance to dry it all off into a powder and blow it away. But back there was still a little bit of a sticky spot. I think there's only one other major cow crossing we've got to go over on the other side of Jamberoo, so that's usually the worst one. Must be quite a herd of cows get driven across there. Must take a while. You wouldn't want to be waiting in your car, I think, while the cows are crossing. You could be there for a while. Beautiful country around here. Beautiful landscape. Jamberoo Car Show, 29th of October. For a small village, they do have a lot of events and attractions here. They must have a fairly progressive community council or whatever they are. They've always got something different on. They have their markets and fairs and car show obviously now, and their sports. So I think the population's about 600. It said it on that sign back there, but I forgot to look. Turn the handlebar warmers off there. I had them on from yesterday. That's 25 degrees today, a bit different to yesterday. It was like 15 degrees to 17 for a long way. Today 25 degrees straight up. So no need for grip warmers today. So this is this next cow crossing I was talking about coming up, and just hope it's dried off nicely. I'll stay well behind this truck in case he throws any up. It's right where he is now. Well, it's all good. It's all dried up, as you can see. There's the culprits over there. I guess they make that crossing twice a day. It's really a great motorcycling ride through here. It's a shame we're in front of this truck. behind this truck, because he actually stinks of diesel fumes, and it's spoiling the view of the corners and going at the wrong speed for this bike. But I suppose he pays his taxes and he has to be able to, oh, it's good, he's turning off. Excellent. Local farmer, I suppose. That's better. Now we've got a nice clear road ahead and we can see the corners coming up better and film everything better. Look at that, beautiful over there, beautiful. Still a bit of moisture on the road where it's shady under the trees. So it's all dry where it's out in the sun, but there's still a few wet patches. So if there's any oil on those patches and the water gets on it, you've got to be careful. The old tyres can... Look at that beautiful view there. Spectacular. Too bad I've got to watch the road. Look at that. And over there. That's just beautiful. That's up towards Saddleback Mountain, where they have a lot of weather towers and transmitting towers and things like that. It's a good ride up there too. It's very twisty and steep and windy and that, but it's not a bad little ride, and a very nice view backwards, back looking towards the north. Oh yes, these corners are just so good. It's a great day for this. coming up to the township of Kiama. Famous, of course, for its blowhole, which over the years has eroded a little, I think, and the actual hole the water shoots out of has got quite large, or a lot larger, and hence it takes a lot more pressure from the sea, bigger seas, to actually shoot the water up very high. Whereas before the hole was a lot thinner, and it didn't take much to funnel that water up and make it shoot real high. But there's still some spectacular days with it. Huge whoosh of noise as the water races up and shoots out the top. It attracts a lot of visitors, of course. So I think it's, well, have to be Kiama's biggest attraction, but they do have lots of other things here, markets and fairs, and it's pretty sought after real estate wise too, for houses and so on. It's pretty expensive to buy anything here. It's always crowded. Lots of tourists. Tourists is their biggest industry by far. Well, there is no other industry. So any jobs going around here are always in the service industries or the real estate. Might go up the, take a little shortcut here up to the steepest hill in Kiama, and the left turn at the top of this on a motorbike is quite an achievement if you can do it without falling off. Here we go. Could almost do a wheel stand on this bike going up here. She's pretty steep. So you don't want to miss a gear as you're going around this corner. It's a long fall down. But it's a good shortcut because it brings you to the other side of the Kiama's main street really, and well on your way south to rejoin the highway. A lot of construction going on in Kiama at the moment. Especially over there, big set of block of units, or several blocks of units going up there, right next door to the railway station and the tracks, which could be a problem. That's one massive block of stuff. This area is known as the Kiama Bends. Really sweeping corners. This used to be a real goat track, dicey, single lane type of thing, no barrier between the both directions. It was a real disaster area for accidents all the time. But they've widened it, had 2 lanes each way, and got that Jersey barrier in between the directional traffic, which is great, and they've banked the corners nicely, and it's one good little ride on a motorbike this. Really good. Sometimes very windy. Today it's not. It's perfect. Over the hill too from here, there's actually wind warning signs, especially for caravans and so on, that because of the strength of the winds that hit over there is enormous. Yes, sometimes those same winds attack you on these bends, which isn't much chop on a motorcycle either when you're leaning over and allowing for a certain amount of wind, and then it suddenly drops or gusts. It can be a bit surprising. Let's just have a quick look at stop at the lookout here on a day like this. It's really something to see, I'd imagine. Yes, just in here. I've often wanted to. I've done it once. I didn't have a camera. Today we do. So let's have a look in here. This is a great view down south. Oh yeah, look at that. It's really something. That bridge down there was just built, recently completed. It's called the Gerringong bypass, that whole area. You used to have to go through Gerringong. Every car had to go through there. And it was just one massive traffic jam. But now we've got the bypass, that road going, you can see to the right of the bridge. But the bridge there is what we'll be taking. We'll go through the township of Gerringong, which is right there. And yeah, we'll wind through there and then rejoin that highway again just before Berry. All good. Nice little look out that. Got visitors from overseas. Good place to take them. Over to the right there is Rose Valley. We took our daughter there once for a Girl Guides camp. Beautiful little spot, just a few farms. Very nice. So we'll take the Gerringong exit and wander our way through Gerringong. Or did that bit of dirt have to land right in through the vision? You get that? The Omega Bridge. I wonder where they got that name from. This is a huge time saver. This used to be one big traffic jam over railway lines, all sorts of things. You were queuing in a line of traffic and you had to queue across a railway line, which wasn't good. So now that's all gone, all a thing of the past. This huge, beautiful bridge goes right over the railway line and gets you into Gerringong without any fuss. And you can also go back out this way and rejoin the highway. If you want to head north towards Wollongong, you can do that safely now as well. So all the interactions with the railway line are over. And good riddance. So this 50 zone signals the start of the little Gerringong township, a town of little boutique shops, souvenir shops, cafes, that sort of thing. They also have a few good sports here. They have a cricket team again and a rugby league, probably a bowling club, I've no doubt. I think they've got a yacht club just a little bit further south. I'm not sure of the population. It's probably about 2,000, something like that. and it swells in summer, of course, with all the holiday makers. It's got some nice beaches around here, camping areas and so on. So a lot of visitors and tourists stop here during the summer months, and it's a great deal of traffic through here, and lots of stops and starts when you're in summer for all the visitors, all trying to get that last table in the cafe. Here's the centre of the town. So that was Gerringong. And now we're heading to another little town, even smaller, called Jamberoo. And it's right at the head of the what's called the 7 Mile Beach, which is, as its name depicts, one great long beach, 7 miles long of golden sand. It's really something. And it's deserted. Most of it's deserted. There's a couple of spots like at Jamberoo where people swim in that, and I think they've got some safe bathing areas, but generally most of the 7 miles of beach is just good deserted beach. Hardly ever see anyone on it. And it's a community golf club just here, public golf course. There's actually Gerringong Golf Club now. I think it used to be public, they must have become a club. That's one of the best views in the world for a golf club. Hitting the ball and you might hit it into the sea. Just our luck. Just our luck we hit a garbage truck. We won't be able to get round him for a while. And boy does he stink. Whew. That stinks real bad. No doubt dripping putrid liquids all over the road as well. Nice. Just up ahead here is the turn off to Jamberoo's beaches and the 7 Mile Beach beginning, and the yacht club's down that way too. Now don't go too fast, mate. Get all the spray coming off you. Whew. Thank God he's turning left. Missed that bin. I guess he's getting the non-recyclable bins. There's the 7 Mile Beach directly ahead. There it is, stretching for 7 miles. What's that, about 12 kilometres or so to the south? And it's really a nice, beautiful area. This road road just turns around here to the left, and we've got the, I guess it's the Jamberoo Caravan Park, or a name to that effect. It's based right on this river here called the Crooked River. Fair bit of water in there today. It's usually a little drier than that. But this must be, if you're into camping, this must be one hell of a place to camp. You've got the river there, you've got the beaches just through the bush to the left there. You camp in there with your caravan or with your tent. You walk across the road, you're at the beach, you walk the other way north of it, and you're in the river. I guess they've got canoes and your own boats and all that. And along here there's a few stops where people just park, and this is where they go down and visit the beach, get changed and go in and swim. There's little cutouts in the bush there for all the way along 7 Mile Beach for that. You've got to be able to access the thing. There's little cabins as well as caravans. People have, I think they still have permanent sites there for people if they want. They either pay a yearly lease to keep their tents and caravans there all year, or they might have even bought a small section. I'm not sure how that works. The councils were trying to stop that because you got your permanent residents there, and there was never any room for people who want to, just actually have a holiday and leave again. And the caravan parks are fast filling up and becoming housing estates on wheels. So councils have probably rightly tried to stop that, or at least limit the amount of or the number of people who can camp there on a permanent, semi-permanent basis. Yeah, you had people just retiring there, and it's a fairly cheap way to live, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. But yeah, there was never any room for people who wanted to just book a site for the night, which is really what the caravan parks are all about. Just up ahead we'll turn right into onto some road. I've just forget the name of the road, but that brings us out just a couple hundred metres before the Berry Township. Beach Road, here we go. Beach Road, Berry. Berry is also known as the town of trees. You can see there they've got a garden festival. They have markets quite regularly every month, I think. They've got a nice lot of cafes, shops, souvenirs, clothing stores, grocery market, a beautiful old historic post office museum, all surrounded by this gorgeous farmland, which is obviously well watered with dams and the odd river. It's a very nice area. Beautiful country around here. There's often houses for sale along here too, or farms, whatever they're called. It's few of my hobby farms. You often see a for sale notice. There was a sort of glut of them there a couple of years back. There was almost every one along there was for sale, but I didn't see one for sale sign then. For a hospital spot. Room with a view there. So we rejoin the main road into Berry, which now has a bypass operating, so a lot less traffic on this road. Used to get every single car heading south and truck right through the middle of the town, which wasn't much fun for anyone.